What is up everyone, Jay here with another video, and today we're going to be doing something fun. I'm going to be ranking the Fire Emblem games based solely on the cover art slash box art of the game. So I'm not going to be ranking them based on the story, the cast of characters, or the gameplay or how fun it is. It's just based on what you see when you pick up the game. So I thought this would be a fun kind of ranking video and discussion video to make. Few things before we start. Normally with these ranking videos, I like to make my own tier list and put my own images, but I was having issues trying to upload a tier maker, so I just kind of gave up and tried to look if anyone else had a tier list set up, and this person here, Devoted Oblivion, so thank you to them for making this tier list that I can use. So if you guys want to use it, I'll leave it in the description. But yeah, I just kind of gave up with uploading images. I was having issues with it, so thank you to them for this. It has every single Fire Emblem game, even the spin-offs. So when I was trying to make mine, I wasn't going to include the spin-off games or any of the games that I don't consider main series games. So that would be, the Warriors games, TMS, BS Archanea Saga, even though that's really cool. I don't think you can actually even play it anymore. And then of course Heroes. So I'm not going to be including those in the tier list here. I'm just going to be focusing on at least what I consider the main series titles. So Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light all the way to Fire Emblem Engage. Fire Emblem 1 all the way to Fire Emblem 17. I think we're at 17 now, or at least that's how I count it. I know some people think Heroes is a main series game, even though it's very important to the series. It's not a main series game. It's definitely a spin-off in my opinion. But that's a whole different discussion, right? But I'm not going to be ranking them here personally because I didn't mean to include them. Of course, this is not my tier list. They're just including every single Fire Emblem game, really. So yeah, I'm not going to be including them. They're just going to be here in the not ranked tier. So I guess I might as well put them there. So that includes Warriors, Three Hopes, Heroes, of course, BS Archanea Saga, TMS, and then where's the other one? Wasn't there one more? The first Warriors game. So I'm not going to be ranking those. So sorry to disappoint if anyone's fans of those games. I mean, I like some of them. I love Heroes. I love the original Warriors to a degree, but yeah, I'm not going to be ranking them, just the main series games, or at least what I consider the main series games. So yeah, let's get into it. Now, one more thing actually. Because this is just ranking it based on the cover art and the box art, right? It's going to be subjective because we're looking at the art and how cool I think it looks or how good I think it looks. So obviously not everyone's going to agree, so we can have a civil discussion. If you disagree, like I said, you can make your own tier list down below, but it's just my subjective opinion. Of course, I'm going to try to look at it objectively, but with Fire Emblem, you're going to be any game series, right? You're going to be having some biases, and if you guys know me, I do have bias towards Archanea, so I might show some bias in that area, but still, I do love a lot of other Fire Emblem games. So let's just have fun with this tier list and start in chronological order, starting with Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, Fire Emblem 1. So Fire Emblem 1, definitely S tier in my opinion. Now, obviously, the first Fire Emblem game and the art style back then was definitely a lot different, but it has that cool kind of 90s charm because that cartoon style. Like, so if we take a look at the box art, right, there's a lot of characters on it, right? We have my boy Marth, clean, classic pantsless Marth, OG pantsless Marth, standing on a rock with falchion in hand, or should I say, pushing into the ground. And then you have his wife in the background, Cheetah. You can't separate the OTP. So it's cool that they're together right here. The literal blueprint of Fire Emblem couples, because they do have blue hair, literally. And then we have Medius in the background overseeing everything. We have Garnef casting some, I guess, lightning magic. And then across Marth's transcendent cape here, which is really cool. I think this is a cool art piece here because it's just like his cape I don't think is that long, but it's just showing, I guess, Marth's influence in this game, being the protagonist, obviously. So we have a bunch of characters in his cape. We have Minerva, we got Jagan, Hardin, Drog, Ogma, Julian, Merrick, Riss. So yeah, I think this art, even though it is obviously old and it's definitely a product of its time, I still think it has that certain 90s charm and classic Fire Emblem charm to it. I definitely still think it looks great. So I'm going to put Fire Emblem 1 in the S tier. And then also one more thing, Dragalia did a tribute to it because Marth is playable in that game, or he was playable in that game. So yeah, they also did a tribute to Fire Emblem 1 as well. So this is really cool cover or tribute art. So shout out to Dragalia Lost. But yeah, I'm definitely putting Fire Emblem 1 in the S tier. Next game to be ranked is Fire Emblem 2, Fire Emblem Gaiden. Now, I'm going to put it in the B ranking. I know some people might disagree with that, but I just think, while it doesn't look terrible, I just think it could be a lot better. Because if you look at it, right, you have, okay, first of all, Valbar being here is pretty cool. Because, I mean, a lot of the earlier games had not only lords on it, right? It showed a lot of other characters, so it's kind of cool to see Valbar on it. But that's not my issue with it. I just think it lacks some of the oomph, I guess, compared to Fire Emblem 1's cover art, which had a lot more characters and a lot more cool stuff going on, a little more color as well. I mean, Alm posing in the middle, great. Dong armor, classic. Celica next to him, great. Just like Marth and Sheeta, you can't separate them. But Duma here in the background is also cool, but I don't know. I just think it could have looked a lot better, or at least a little bit better. But still a cool cover art, but I'm going to put it in the B tier. So yeah, that's where I put Fire Emblem Gaiden. Alright, next game to be ranked, we're going back to Archanea with Fire Emblem 3, Mystery of the Emblem. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, of course Jay's going to put it in S tier because Lind is his favorite Fire Emblem girl, and you would be right, I am going to put it in S tier, but not only because of Lind. I just think the art style looks great, even from a distance it looks really cool. Now, if you actually look at it up close, you can see Medius. A lot of the characters obviously have had design changes. Marth isn't pantsless anymore, but he still looks awesome. You know, the dragon in the background. I love the dark clouds in the back with the flying dragons as well, just to, you know, put that atmosphere of, you know, shit's about to go down. Sheeta is still flying behind Marth, just making sure he's okay. Ogma as well. I love how Lind and Merrick are side by side on Marth's left and right, and Jagan in the background, and we have Garneth in the middle T-posing. So I just think this art overall for Fire Emblem 3, it's just as good, if not better, than the Fire Emblem 1 art, and compared to Gaiden, it's a lot more colorful and it pops out more, and I think it sells the game better. So I'm easily going to put Fire Emblem 3 in the S tier easily. So that's where I'd put Fire Emblem 3, Mystery of the Emblem, in the S tier alongside Fire Emblem 1. So I think that's fitting. I forgot to mention one more thing. When I'm ranking these tier lists, I'm not ranking them within the tiers. So, for example, I have 2 games in the S tier, Fire Emblem 1 and Fire Emblem 3, right? I'm not saying that Fire Emblem 1 necessarily has better art than Fire Emblem 3 just because it's in front of it. I'm not saying that. So yeah, I'm not ranking them within the tiers. And so if someone brings up like, why would you put this game above it in the A tier or whatever, I'm not actually ranking them within it. I'm just placing them in the general tier because that's more specifics to get into. So I didn't want to do that, so I'm not ranking them within the tiers. But yeah, the next game to rank is Fire Emblem 4, Genealogy of the Holy War, rhyming accidentally. So yeah, I would put Fire Emblem 4. Now this is going to be kind of controversial, maybe, especially because, you know, if you're a Jugdral fan, you definitely do love this game because the Jugdral fans are very passionate. But I'm going to put it in the C tier. Why would I put it in the C tier? Now, I'm going to start off with the positives of this box art. I think some of it looks really great. For example, Sigurd. I think it's really cool kind of that he's in the background, kind of overarching his son, you know, because Selif's in the front. And if you guys know what happens in the game, it makes sense kind of, and especially what Sigurd represents in that game, I think he's important. So it's cool that he's on the cover. I just think he could have had more shine in the front. I mean, it's still cool he's in the back, but if you zoom in, like, you don't even see his mouth. I think it would have been cool to have Selif and Sigurd kind of in the spotlight because Selif's in the front, Sigurd's in the back. But like I said, if you do know what happens with Sigurd, kind of makes sense, but I don't know. I'm kind of like on the fence with it. I just think Sigurd could have been look cool up front with Selif as well, or even reversed. And then you have the Pegasus Knights in the background, really cool. But other than that, there isn't really much going on in this box art. There isn't really much colors. Now, I mean, that's not really a bad thing because I think kind of the darker atmosphere, even though we kind of have this light clouds in the background, light sky, it's kind of a darker atmosphere because Fire Emblem 4 is one of the darkest Fire Emblem games. So it does make sense in that. It has that going for it. But I think there could have been more characters, or Sigurd just, I don't know, maybe having a little bit better art, more polished art, or more art that makes him look, I guess, more distinguished. Because like I said, he's kind of just like there. I mean, he's definitely there, but like I said, I think he could have been up in front. Had a little more oomph to him. So, but yeah, that's where I'm going to put it in the C tier. Now, I did say obviously I'm not ranking them within the tiers, but if I was, I might consider putting it at like the bottom of B tier here, if I really was ranking it within, or like a B, if I had like a B minus tier. But yeah, I'm going to put it at the C tier, or at least the top of C tier if I was ranking it within the tiers. So yeah, that's where I'm putting Genealogy of the Holy War. Okay, so next game on the list is Fire Emblem 5 Thracia 776. Now, Thracia's art is, I don't really have much to say about it besides it's solid. It's nothing crazy amazing, and it's nothing terrible. I'm honestly going to put it in the B tier. Now, if we take a look at it, right, like I said, it's very simple, not really much going on. I mean, it's got a good amount of characters, which I do like. It's got Leaf, of course, and it's got my goat Finn. Finn's one of my favorite Jugdral characters. But other than that, there's really not much to say. Like I said, there's just a light background and not really much going on besides the characters looking out. So yeah, it's solid. for sure, but it's nothing really to write home about in my opinion. Very simple and clean cover art. So that's where I'd put Thracia in the B tier. Okay, so now we're heading into Game Boy territory, starting off with Fire Emblem 6, the Binding Blade. Now, I think Binding Blade has one of the better cover arts for sure. I think it's really solid, and I'd put it in the A tier. I kind of debated if I was going to put it in the S tier a little bit, but I think it's A tier. Now, if we take a look at it, there's a lot going on. I do appreciate, of course, a lot of characters, and then it shows basically that they're fighting. We have Sue, I think that's Roy right there, Deke, Chad, Walt, Roy, of course, on the cover, he looks sick. And then Aline in the background, which is nice and cute. And then, of course, we have Zephiel looking evil, you know, overseeing everything. And then the Dune, of course, as well. And the Pegasus Knight Girl. So I think this art is really cool. It's really solid. I mean, you have the stormy skies, you know, pretty much symbolizing, you know, shit's about to go down. It's getting dark. So I do like that as well. And it's, compared to Thracia, of course, it has a lot more going for it, I think. So, yeah, I'd put Binding Blade in the A tier for sure. Again, I debated putting an S tier, but I think it's solidly in the A tier, at least high A tier. So yeah, that's where I put Fire Emblem 6. One more thing I forgot to mention that I think I should get out of the way before we get to Fates is Revelation. Revelation technically doesn't have any box art because while it is the third path, it's a DLC. So you can't actually buy a physical copy of Fates. It's not going to be in a box cartridge, you know. So yeah, I should have mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to be putting it in not ranked because you can't really rank it. I mean, yeah, there's art for it, I guess, but the Fates box art for each game, they're all kind of meshed together. One side is Birthright, one side is Conquest, and in the middle is Revelation, right, with Azura. So yeah, I wouldn't put Revelation on the box art here, so I'm going to put it in not ranked. But anyways, let's go continue with Fire Emblem 7, the Blazing Blade, the Blazing Sword, Fire Emblem, however you call it. I know people debate if it's Blazing Sword or Blazing Blade, but I'm pretty sure it's a Blazing Blade. Either way, Fire Emblem 7 I think has one of the best box arts for sure. It's really nostalgic, of course, with a lot of people because a ton of people started with Fire Emblem 7, so I'm going to put it in the S tier. We take a look at it. I think, even though it doesn't have any villains or anything, like Nurgle's not on here, the Dragon's not on here, we do have Ninian and Nils, they're in the background, which, you know, signifies their importance, which I like that a lot. And of course, the trio, the iconic Fire Emblem 7 trio with Lyn, Hector, Eliwood. And while Hector, even though a lot of people don't like Lyn and definitely think that her story is, you know, it shouldn't get as much, or she doesn't deserve as much spotlight compared to Hector, even though Hector's in the back, I still like that he's still there. You know what I mean? He's not just like faceless in the background, if that makes sense. And Eliwood looks epic with his pose. So yeah, I think Fire Emblem 7, it's very simple art, but I do like the poses and everything. I like how Nini and Nils are in the background. We do have some flying, I think those are Pegasus Knights in the background, that's a Wyvern. So I like it. You know, it's pretty simple, but it's great. So yeah, I'm going to be putting Fire Emblem 7 in the S tier. So now on to the last Game Boy Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem 8 Sacred Stones. So I love Sacred Stones, it's one of my favorite Fire Emblem games, but I think the box art's kind of lazy, honestly. I'm going to put it in the C tier. Honestly, I think it's worse than Genealogy's art. Now, why do I think it's bad? So let's look at it. Sacred Stones, great game, like I said, but the box art leaves a lot to be desired. You do have the Draco Zombie, the Necro Dragon, you know, dragons that you find in the game. You see one in the background here. I guess it's also on the logo. But that's it. There's just Ephraim and Erica. There's no Lion, which is a damn shame. I think Lion should have been on the cover because he's obviously an important character. It's very simple. I feel like they just went a little too safe on it. And plus, Sacred Stones has some of the more unique enemies in the series, right? Not only do you have Draco zombies, you also have the eyeball things. You have spiders. Like, they could have included those in the background if you're going to put some enemies. But they just put, like, one or two. And they don't even put the Sacred Stones on it. Like, you could have put the stones, maybe. More characters. Like, Lion would have... Like, if Lion was here, I would have definitely ranked it higher. But because he's not here for some reason, I don't know, I just think it's kind of lackluster cover art. But yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning. I definitely think Lion deserved to be on the cover. So yeah, I'm going to be putting Sacred Stones in the C tier. Alright, so now we head into Tellius territory with Fire Emblem 9 Path of Radiance. Path of Radiance, easily S tier, for sure. I mean, just look at it, man. Let's look at it. Path of Radiance cover art, if you see this in the store back then, you know, this is like, if I saw this in the store back then, I would have been like, yo, I'm picking up this game. Because it just looks awesome. It looks like an exciting adventure. Ike looks epic. I love how Alincia is posed here. You have some of the Lagoos. You have Titanian Mist, and then you also have Black Knight lurking in the back, which is really cool. And I also like that the logo has fire on it, which is fitting for Ike, right? So I really just love this cover art. I think it looks amazing. It's definitely one of the best for sure. You also have the armies here with their flags. Like, it just has a lot going on for it, and it's kind of like with Marth, what he had with Fire Emblem 1 with the cape, with Ike's cape here. So that's really cool as well. So yeah, Path of Radiance is easily one of the best cover arts in the series. I think a lot of people would agree with me there. But yeah, that's where I put Path of Radiance, S tier, easy. Up next is Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, Fire Emblem 10. So where am I going to put Radiant Dawn? Just like Path of Radiance, I'm going to be putting in the S tier. Reason being is I just think the cover art really grabs your attention, just like Path of Radiance does. It has the colors, it has the shine, as you can see, obviously. Maybe not as good as Path of Radiance. There isn't as much going on for it, I guess, in the cover art. There's not as much action, but there's still a good amount of action. I mean, you can see the Dawn Brigade fighting at the bottom, which is a nice touch. Micaiah posing, about to blast this Wyvern guy, this Wyvern Knight. So is Wither, of course. And you do have some flying Wyverns, and a lot of Fire Emblem box arts do have some kind of flying Wyvern or Pegasus, which is, so, you know, nothing out of the blue here. But even though it is pretty simple, the red background is cool. I just like overall how it looks, especially from a distance, because like I said, it does grab your attention. And if you're like a 10-year-old kid going through the store that I used to do, what I used to do is just check games out, even if I wasn't going to play it or buy it. This is a cover art that will definitely grab my attention, you know. So yeah, Radiant Dawn, easily S tier in my opinion, and that's where I'm going to put it. Alright, so now we're heading into DS territory, starting with Fire Emblem 11 Shadow Dragon. So this pains me to say, because I do love Shadow Dragon. I think it's a great remake of the first game. But it's one of the worst box arts in the series. It's probably the worst one, honestly. If you ask me, I'd probably pick Shadow Dragon as the worst box art. So yeah, I'm going to put it in C tier here. So why is it the worst? I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? There's nothing really going on the cover art. There's no characters on it, which is insane because every other Fire Emblem game to this day has had some kind of character on it. And for them not to put Marth on it at all is a travesty to me. Like, that's insane to me, especially because Marth is the mascot of the series. Fight me on it if you want, but in my opinion, he's the mascot. And, you know, when this game came out, Marth was still, I mean, he's always popular because of Smash, right? So at this time, there was no localized game for Marth yet. So they come out with the remake. Great idea, right? To localize it so people can more easily play his game and experience his story. But they don't even put him on the cover art, which is just, why? Like, why? They don't put anybody on it. It's just Falchion, a map, some horses in the corner here, and that's it. Like, there's nothing, and it's a boring color too. It's a very bland looking cover art. And the sword is not anything special because, like, half the games have some kind of sword next to the logo. So yeah, it's just mind-boggling to me that they didn't include Marth, because for the reasons I said, he's so popular, he's the mascot of the series, and why would you not include him on the cover so people can recognize him? And like, if you put Marth on the cover, I guarantee this game would have sold even more, right? Because first impressions are important. So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense why he's not on the box art. It really would have looked awesome, because it's not like he doesn't have any art in Shadow Dragon. He's got a full render and everything, so you could have just put that there. It wouldn't have been that hard to add Marth on the cover, Marth and Sheeta, just Marth. It didn't have to be anyone else. I'm not asking for a lot of characters like the other games do. Just put Marth on it, and it would have been a lot better, and would have made more sense. But yeah, I don't know why Shadow Dragon is the only Fire Emblem game without any characters on it. Maybe they wanted to try something different, but for Marth's game, for the GOAT, I just don't understand it. So fortunately, like I said, it pains me to say, but Shadow Dragon, arguably the worst box art in the entire series, so that's where I'm going to put it. Up next is the remake of Fire Emblem 3 Book 2, Fire Emblem 12, New Mystery of the Emblem, Heroes of Light and Shadow. So the full title is kind of a mouthful. I think it is the longest title in the series. But yeah, Fire Emblem 12, one of my favorite Fire Emblem games, and I'm happy to report that the box art is pretty much just as good as the game itself. It's just really nice box art, and they pretty much righted the wrongs of the criminal Shadow Dragon box art, because they actually put Marth on the cover, so they did something right there. They put Chris as well. They're kind of back to back. It's really cool, the two main characters of the game. So they look pretty awesome together, and even though it is pretty simple, I think it's perfect, honestly, this box art, because the game is called Heroes of Light and Shadow. So you do have the Heroes of Light in color, and then the Shadow part, which is hardened, of course, not really in color. They're kind of just in this gray whitish, so I think that's really cool. And of course you have your standard Wyvern, Dragon, and Pegasus Knight in the air. I think is that Sheeta? I'm not sure. That kind of looks like it's Sheeta. I'm not sure. But yeah, either way, this box art is pretty damn good. You know, it just funny to me. Like, and just imagine if Shadow Dragon had a box art half this good, you know. The game could have sold a lot more. But even though they did get it right with the next game, you know, putting Marth on it, it's like this game was never localized. So it's like, y'all actually got a good cover art, but then you didn't localize this game, which is a damn shame, because New Mystery is a great game. And as of me making this video on July 15th, it is the 13th anniversary of the game. So shout out to Fire Emblem 12. So yeah, I'm going to be putting it in the S tier easily, and I think it's very deserving. Alright, so now we're entering 3DS territory with Fire Emblem 13, Fire Emblem Awakening. So I really can't put Awakening's box art any lower than S tier. It's just that good. It's one of the most iconic box arts in the series, and it's very unique compared to the rest because it portrays them in a way that the other characters aren't, right? Because they're in the air. If you take a look, they're all jumping or getting ready to attack or attacking in the air, while most of the other characters that are portrayed on the cover arts, you know, they're just standing up. I mean, unless you're in the air on a wyvern or something, but they're kind of just standing there or doing a pose. But with Awakening, they're in the air, which is really cool, and I love how it's portrayed here because Chrom is going this way, Lucina's going the other way, basically showing they're on different paths, but even though they're going in different directions, their falchions are still parallel. So I found that really, really cool. And of course, a good amount of the cast is in the background here. You got Sumia looking fierce. We have Tharja as well. Vake didn't forget his axe. Tiki's about to do a head dive. Viren's about to snipe someone. Sayori's ready to slice some heads. Flavia's about to stab someone. Frederick and Lissa look perfect. And there's one more character on here that you might have not noticed, but it's actually Kellum. Kellum is in the background here. Yeah, his head is getting chopped off a little bit, but yeah, Kellum's in the background, so he is on the box art of Fire Emblem Awakening, which is hilarious because, you know, he doesn't get noticed. But I did notice you, Kellum, so shoutouts to you. But yeah, Fire Emblem Awakening's box art is just amazing, and it's very unique, and I like it a lot. So that's where I'm going to be putting it easily in the S tier. Okay, so now we're on to Fire Emblem Fates. So Fire Emblem Fates, Birthright, and Conquest, because they're both pretty much hand in hand, obviously, but they also have box arts that pretty much converge with each other. So if you take a look, yeah, so Azura would be in the middle here to represent Revelation, but it's simple. You know, they're both families are looking off with Corrin in front. But it's one of those box arts that might catch your attention while you're in the store, you know what I mean? It might be like, what is this game about? So it has that going for it. Also, I think it does capture that the whole big question in this game about family. So it has that going for it. But it's nothing like amazing. I wouldn't write home about it. But it's solid for sure. The colors are nice. It represents all the royals, of course, of each side for Hashido and Nor. But yeah, not really much to say about this box art. I think it's cool, but it's nothing S tier. So I'm going to be putting it in the A tier. Next game up is Fire Emblem 15, Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, the remake for Fire Emblem Gaiden. The artist of this game, Hidari, did a spectacular job. Honestly, I don't think Intelligent Systems could have chosen a better artist to remake this game and redesign the characters, because Hidari's art style is just beautiful. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the best in the entire series, and it really plays into how good this box art is. So yeah, just look how good Alm and Celica look here. But besides that, you look at the logo, it looks clean. I love the sky color, the army as well, and the classic wyvern or dragon in the sky flying around. But Alm and Celica being posed like this is really powerful because they both represent different sides, right? Representing Duma and Milla. So you have one side with Alm, with Rigel being the side more about power, and then you have Celica representing the side of peace. And that's why she has her eyes closed and she's looking really peaceful and serene, while Alm has his sword out. So I think that's really powerful. It's just really pretty, man. It's a beautiful box art for a beautiful game. And I guess you could have added Duma and Milla in the background or something, maybe. But they don't really need to, because Alm and Celica pretty much are representing them. But Duma did appear on the original Gaiden cover art. But yeah, this one's just so pretty. I love it. It's one of my favorites for sure. And one of my favorite games, honestly, too. So yeah, beautiful box art for a beautiful game, and very deserving of S tier. So next up is Fire Emblem 16, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. So where am I going to put 3 houses in this box art tier list? I'm a little bit on the fence if I should put it in the A tier or the B tier. I don't know. It's definitely unique because Claude is upside down, as you can see. That's definitely the thing that sticks out. So I like that, but I also don't like it because I almost feel like Claude could have looked cooler or better if he wasn't upside down. But it definitely represents him being kind of the wild card out of the 3. Dimitri and Edelgard don't look bad, but I just think the poses are kind of awkward. I don't know. I think they could have looked cooler, but I guess they wanted to make space for Byleth in the middle here. But they do have their weapons kind of crossing, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's just something about the poses I think could have looked a little bit less, I don't know, it just feels a little cluttered, kind of awkward. That's just my opinion. But yeah, Claude being upside down though kind of gives it points because of how unique that is. But yeah, I think I'm just going to put it in the B tier. I was on the fence a little bit, but I think I'm going to put it in B tier. So that's where I put 3 houses. Last but not least is going to be Fire Emblem 17, Fire Emblem Engage. So where am I going to put it? S tier as well. I just think the box art is beautiful. I love the vibrant colors. I love the details on it. I love all the characters shown, all the princes and princesses, Diamant, Ivy, Alfred, Tamara, even though Alfred kind of looks mad. This is definitely not an expression you'd see him do in the game, but so it's kind of jarring. But yeah, Alfred is mad. But yeah, I just love it. Like, I like the dragons in the back. I love how the Somniel's in the middle background. I love how the skies are different colors. I like the ring in the middle. Even Alir, even though I wasn't a huge fan of the designs, at least at first when they were announced, they look cool here. And even the font, I like the font of Engage. I like the colors of Engage. I like the clouds at the bottom here to represent that, you know, we are on the Somniel. And then last but not least, of course, how could I forget? Marth. Absolutely majestic looking here, representing that, you know, he is the mascot of the series pretty much. Because if he wasn't the mascot, he wouldn't be on the cover. He's the only Lord that's not from Engage that is on the cover. So I love that he's represented here. I was through the roof when I saw the cover art of this game. So yeah, obviously I'm a little biased there, but overall, even if Marth wasn't there, I think this box art would have been S tier, or at least A tier. So yeah, Engage just has really pretty box art. So that is pretty much it, guys. That is my box art tier list for the Fire Emblem games. If you guys want to make your own tier list, I will leave this link to the tier list in the description. It's all in good fun. It was just a fun video I thought I'd make, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening to my rambles and my opinions. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this tier list. You know, if you would change a few things up. I have a lot of games in the S tier for sure, but I just enjoy art and I enjoy the box art. I think Fire Emblem has solid box art overall, outside of a few hiccups like Shadow Dragon. But yeah, it was just fun to make this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So yeah, leave a like if you did. Please stay safe out there. Peace out.